How are all of you lovely people doing today? My name is John, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. This is a series where I take your questions about the zombie storyline and I take them on. Whether it's a big, a small, or a simple question, I'm always happy to answer it. So you can either leave your questions down below or tweet me at JohnnyJ25. Without further ado, let's begin. Today's episode will be kicked off with a question from Mariano Menendez, who asks, who created the bows and do they have a backstory? To answer this question, let's look at some of the imagery surrounding the bows as well as their names. The bows are generically called the Wrath of the Ancients, and while the Ancients refers to Primus, our four original characters immortalized as these Time Lords or these gods throughout the ages. We've seen them recreated and immortalized in stone throughout many of the maps within Zombies, and they're always featured with the same crescent that we see on the Keepers. It's this black sun logo. Well, on the map Origins, they wielded the staves, and the staves are believed to be vril devices lost to the ages. And well, if that's the case, then in a sense, Primus or the Ancients are in line with the vril. Now we're seeing them again, but we're also seeing them in the presence of the Keepers. If we look on the map Der Eisendrache, we can see the Keepers in the room where the bow rituals are complete. They are giant statues that surround the pyramid, another thing that is believed to be a vril device. We can also look at the room where the bow is featured, and we can see many sort of like crescents that belong to the Keepers, as well as a place for the golden rod. Now, if you ask me, a lot of this imagery surrounds 1. The Vril, 2. The Ancient Order of the Keepers, and 3. Our 4 original characters who are also featured in stone in the very same room that we can also get the bow. All this imagery to me ties together and makes me go, the Wrath of the Ancients, the bows have to be some kind of vril device just like the staves, and quite possibly the Keepers are actually the Vril Ya, and the Vril Ya use our 4 characters Primus to sort of protect the universe in a sense, and maybe they use things like the staves and the Wraths of the Ancients in order to complete these goals. But then they may also have actually taken inspiration from some of the real events around them. For example, we have the Void Bow, which features skulls of the Vril Ya, and we also have the Wolf Bow, which is sort of immortalizing the soul of the Wolf King, which we learned about on Der Eisendrache. So if you ask me, here's what's going on with the bows. The bows appear to be ancient vril devices that are in the same vein as the staves that we found on Origins. They most likely get their power from the Black Sun, which is actually where the vril derives a lot of their power. And we can imagine that they've sort of created these devices for the Ancients to go about and do their work. But this is of course just speculation. Treyarch has not said anything about the origins of the bows. That unfortunately was left out in a lot of the lore and mythos surrounding Der Eisendrache. However, this is all based on the imagery that we can see surrounding the bows and many important areas that feature the bows. If you ask me, this is our best guess as to where the bows actually came from and who most likely created them. Moving on, we now have a question from Kapu21 who asks, if the MPD is on the moon and the moon is destroyed, who is controlling the zombies? I wanted to bring this up because I felt like this was an excellent question, and it's been something that's been boggling a number of people in the community's minds right now. We always imagined the MPD to be the end-all be-all within zombies. Whoever was in control of the pyramid was in control of the zombies, but that might not be the case exactly based on what we're seeing in Der Eisendrache. Initially, we imagined that Samantha was in the pyramid, and this is because Samantha was in the pyramid in World at War and Black Ops 1, and now that we're going back in time in Black Ops 3, it would only make sense that she's once again in the pyramid. However, we've gone so far back that she actually has yet to enter the pyramid yet, so at the time of Der Eisendrache, nobody is really inside the pyramid. And then what goes on to happen is a Keeper goes to the moon, brings back the pyramid, and unfortunately gets stuck in the pyramid. He becomes corrupted inside the MPD pyramid, and this makes us go, okay, I guess he's now controlling the zombies. However, we eventually flush the Keeper out, and that's what's going on in the boss battle. We cleanse him, and he's no longer in the pyramid. But once we remove him from the pyramid, the zombies still exist. The zombies are still chasing after us. If there's nobody in the pyramid, how is this even possible? So this makes us reimagine how the MPD actually works. How could the zombies have been chasing after people if nobody was inside the pyramid? It doesn't quite make sense. And maybe we need to reconsider how the pyramid works. What if the pyramid, rather than is the end-all be-all, is more an influencer? The zombies just have they inherit a need to go after flesh. That's what they want to do. They want to chase after people, essentially. And whoever is in control of the pyramid can influence those needs and those desires. They can say, hey, go after these people specifically. They can kind of nudge them in directions. They can control them in some sense, but in another sense, the zombies also have their own sense of free will that isn't undeniably controlled by the pyramid. So that's what I think is currently going on with the pyramid, and that might be why we're seeing it act very different with nobody in control right now. Today's episode is going to end with a question from Mark Ello, who asks, how come all of a sudden, when it comes to Moon, people completely ignore the fact that they can go into different universes? You're right, people can go into different universes, and we've been seeing our characters do that on multiple occasions throughout the zombie storyline. However, it appears that the characters have locked themselves down into one universe at the moment, and this kind of goes against our initial understanding of the zombie storyline. If you asked me about a month ago or 2 months ago, I would have said they're jumping between many different universes, and what happens in one universe doesn't affect the other universes. But while that is true, it's not exactly a proper understanding of the storyline, and that's okay. Because of the nature of how Treyarch tells this story, they always leave us in the dark, and they always force us to make guesses and assumptions, and sometimes they turn out to be wrong, and then we have to correct ourselves and reevaluate how we imagine things. And it appears to be, at the moment, our characters are working in one universe. They're working in the same universe as the Giant and Der Eisendrache. They're all one. The events in the Giant affect the events in Der Eisendrache, and we can hear this in some of the radio transmissions between Richthofen and Groff. Richthofen will say, "Oh no, any reports of my death are erroneous," and then we can also hear Groff mention events at the Giant, so clearly these two events are linked and they belong in the same universe. And then this sort of creates the picture that our characters are trying to affect this one universe. There's something significant about this universe, and because this universe might be significant, that leads us to believe that this may be the original universe, the one we were playing in World at War in Black Ops 1. In a sense, we are actually going back in time now into this universe and trying to correct the original events caused by the evil Richthofen, where he locks Samantha and Maxis into the pyramid, and then Maxis goes on a crazy hunt for revenge. In a sense, this original universe that we played in from World at War to Black Ops 1 is now trying to be fixed, and that's why we're not exactly universe hopping. If we go into other universes, well then those changes don't affect the other universes. Something happened in this universe that sort of ruined all the other universes, and now we need to stop that from happening in order to correct the rest of the world. That appears to be, at the moment, our current theory of what is going on with zombies. I know you bring this question up because you want a Moon remake. A lot of people are saying, well wait, we can just go to a different universe where the Moon is destroyed, but there is no sense in going to another universe because it doesn't make sense from a logical standpoint in the zombie storyline. We're trying to go forward and affect change, and going to another universe with the Moon still intact does not affect change in the way we want it to. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be wrapping up this wonderful episode of the Zombie Storyline Q&A. If you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like or possibly subscribe for more videos. I'm going to be doing multiple like this, and if you enjoyed this one, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Have a fantastic day, and bye.